Right now, Knox County School Superintendent Dr. John Ricewick is talking about social media threats against several schools in the district. Let's check back in and listen in once again.
The formidable shape of their years, you know, their times, 14 to 18-year-olds. What is your message to them to make sure that this doesn't happen again?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say to students, I mean, decisions you make matter, and you know how you care about your fellow classmates. Sometimes we said before there may be pranks or gags in the past that are kind of like, this is funny, let's see what we can get by with. But it impacts people, and it doesn't just impact them that day for that school day. It impacts some of their emotional well-being, their anxiety levels, how they feel about school, their trust in an institution they should be able to trust to come to. Again, our teachers and our staff work every day to build those relationships and do that. And something like this comes in and adds fear, and it compromises that. So, your actions do have consequences, and think through that for yourself, but also for your fellow classmates.
And I know you mentioned an increased presence tomorrow. Are there been any reports of any threats that have been planned for tomorrow? Is that why, or is it just an increased presence overall?
I would just say, we've seen the increase in this kind of period of time. There's not one moment in time on one day that we've kind of had this barrage of them. As the sheriff, alluded to on last Friday, there's just an increased number across the board right now. And again, some of that may be people are aware and reporting. Some of those may be external things that are happening, but we're processing those each individually as they come through. And I said before, we've been having multiple every day for the last couple of days, so we'll continue to process those. And typically this cycle will go for a little while longer, and that's why we're calling on parents and students to do the right thing so we can get back to normal.
I have one final question for you.
Sure.
This may be a question for the school culture department, but you've talked about early interventions. What are those kind of early signs to watch out for, and what do those interventions look like?
You're right. Janice Cook is the expert in that area, but I'll try to help her a little bit on this, the things she's taught me. Every school has a whole child support team, and so that's a team made up of administrators, counselors, teachers, that all come around, and they're kind of doing a hot list of students based on academics, but also based on just what they're seeing in a student and what their knowledge of that student is. It could be anything from, the students their family's going through a divorce. It could be they've recently moved. I mean, these are the kind of factors they look for. They talk about behaviors that the student may be showing. They talk about their academic performance, and then they actually build out individualized plans for those students and start the intervention. Again, it could be time with a counselor. It could be some additional services that they need. So that's a great early warning for us to be able to start seeing kids that maybe their behavior is just not what we'd expect it to be. We can find some things through there. And so those kinds of interventions are important for us. Our counselors are very involved with them as well. And we want to always make sure, and I'm going to send that message to parents too, if your child is struggling with those things, we have the resource to be able to help. Just reach out to your school's administration and let us know you need that extra support.
Again, you've been listening in to Dr. John Ricewick, the superintendent of Knox County Schools, talking about those recent social media threats, and again, reassuring parents that their schools are safe and that they will have increased presence in the coming days.